Hello, welcome to Hub City Now. I'm your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr., and today we have with us again Dr. Amy Dietrich. That's right.
Very good. Good for you.
If you all remember, we had her on several weeks ago talking about the Jackson Madison County Public Library, their 50th anniversary celebration, their Books of Madison County event. And now we have her, because she does so many different things, we have her here today to talk to us about the Jackson Choral Society. They have an event coming up on Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at Northside United Methodist Church, which is located at 2571 North Highland Avenue in Jackson, Tennessee. The event is called Another Trip Around the World, and Austin Clark will be the music director. Thank you for coming back, Dr.
You're
Dietrich.
welcome. Thank you for having me. I love to talk about the Choral Society.
Well, tell us about the Jackson Choral Society. How did it start? When was it founded?
It started 10 years ago.
Okay.
A group of singers from First Presbyterian and First Methodist Church got the idea that it would be wonderful to have a group, a community group that put on concerts.
Right.
And it was originally called the Festival Singers.
Huh.
The first director was Darian Krim, who was then the music director at First United Methodist.
Okay.
And so some singers from First United Methodist and from Presbyterian Church were on the group that kind of founded it.
Okay. How many people, do you know how many people were at
I
first
think,
group?
I've seen pictures because I wasn't there then. And it looked like maybe 30, 35
Okay.
people that were in it initially.
Okay.
And it was just, there was a real need in the community. If you think we have an arts council and we have
Right.
a symphony, and it just seemed like a natural progression to
have a
me
choir.
that people would say, there are lots of good church choirs in this
Right.
community, and people who sang in college like I did or sang all their lives in church choirs, and why not create a group? And so that's what they did.
That's awesome. So how many how many members are there now?
We
10 years
have,
later.
I believe, about 72 at
Wow,
this point.
that's awesome.
We now have an orchestra that plays with us. We have about 18 to 20, depending on the pieces and what instruments we use,
Right.
that are with us for the concerts. And that's exciting, too. For all the years I've been singing, I never sang with an orchestra before.
Right.
And it's a very interesting, it adds so much.
It
There's a
does.
richness. It helps select different kinds of music, and it just creates an atmosphere.
That's
I won't
right.
use the word background because that would be kind of derogatory, but maybe they think of us as a background.
Right. How did you get involved?
I went to a concert, and I thought, gosh, this is interesting to have a group like this. I had been in and out of church choirs. I sang in concert choir in college, and I thought, I wonder how you get involved in that group. And then you know how you do these things, and about 2 years later you think, I wonder how you get in there.
Right.
And I just made a phone call to Darian Krim and said, I'm interested in the Choral Society. How do I get involved? What's the audition process?
Right.
And he said, there's no audition process. You just come. And it really is, in my mind, a self-selection. For me, if I didn't read music, it would be very difficult for me to do this. But I have a daughter who sang with Emery's chorale, and she was in their trio, and she sang in a group in Tupelo called Two Drink Minimum, and she does not read music. So if you have a good ear, if you like to sing, if you want to make the commitment. But the first time I went to a rehearsal, and I was just like in heaven. And all of a sudden he said, I'll see you next week. I thought, oh, no, it can't be over yet. And it had been 2 hours.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize that it had been 2 hours. If you enjoy singing, it's like if you enjoy playing golf or if you enjoy going to baseball games.
Right.
Whatever you enjoy, whatever your passion, or kickboxing, whatever your passion is, you forget about the time. I just came from yoga, and I have learned that I don't watch the clock anymore.
Right.
About the first 3 months, I was thinking I'm in pain, and
I'm
when
ready for
is
this
it
to be
gonna be
over.
over?
Right.
And now it's just like when she'll say it's time for relaxation, I have the same feeling I did with that first rehearsal.
Like, no.
Really? I have
Right.
to go now? So that's how I became involved in it, and I've been involved for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the board. I'm secretary of the board.
Okay.
And it's just everybody that knows me knows that I don't do anything on Monday night because I go to rehearsal.
Okay.
That's what I do.
How's the schedule structured? How do you all go every Monday throughout the year, or is there a break or
There's a break.
introduction?
We started this year in August.
Okay.
We go every Monday night, the week of a concert.
Mm-hmm.
We will have 3 rehearsals before that concert.
Okay.
And we'll have one with the orchestra.
Okay.
So like the week before the 11th, we'll meet on Monday. We'll meet again on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll meet on Saturday morning with the orchestra, with the full orchestra. And then again, and people wonder about musicians. You mean they only rehearse once? No. They
Right.
rehearse
Over
a
and
lot.
over. Right.
My daughter has a friend who's a professional musician, and those people practice 2 or 3 hours a day by themselves.
Right.
They come in prepared. It's like me practicing singing and then coming in and singing with the group.
Right.
And they're very good. They're very professional, and they come in ready. And we've always been fortunate that we have choir directors who are also very skilled at orchestration and at directing an orchestra.
Right.
And so they are very, very talented in coming in and being able to, the
Unite
orchestra's
both.
not sitting there thinking, who's this yo-yo
Right.
that doesn't know which hand to hold the baton in. I mean, they're all
Right.
very skilled at that too.
That's awesome. I know that from personal experience, that's a lot of hard work because I was in concert choir, jazz choir, all those things when I was in junior high school and high school, and part of college when I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. But
Oh, no. And I bet you're a bass, aren't you?
yeah, I ended as a bass. I began actually in junior high school as a soprano, and then a tenor, and then a bass. But it was fun. I still recall, going to the Peabody. We performed at the Peabody almost every year, and then the ducks would come out and swim in the pond.
fun.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we do rehearse up until now after the 11th of November when our concert is.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, there would be a hiatus until January.
Okay.
However, for the past 3 years, we have sung with the symphony for their Christmas concert.
Okay.
So on the 12th, that very next night, back for rehearsal
Wow.
to rehearse so that we
Wow.
can sing with the symphony. And then we'll rehearse again January through end of April.
Okay.
And then we have a hiatus until the following August. And we all miss it so much. It's
I'm
like-
sure you do.
because if you sing in a church choir, they often take a hiatus in July. Also, a lot of church choirs do not rehearse for July.
Okay.
So it's like all of a sudden you just
Not singing.
it's like when you can't wait for school to be out, and then about in July you're thinking, I want to go back to school now. It's that same feeling that you
Right.
had as a kid.
Right. Well, we're going to come back and talk more with Dr. Amy Dietrich about the Jackson Choral Society, and we're going to talk more about the upcoming event, Another Trip Around the World, which will be Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at Northside United Methodist Church, located at 2571 North Highland Avenue in Jackson, Tennessee. And the Jackson Choral Society will be under the musical direction of Austin Clark. So we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to Hub Seeing Now. I'm back with Dr. Amy Dietrich, who is with the Jackson Choral Society. Tell us about Another Trip Around the World. That is an event that's coming on Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at Northside United Methodist Church, located at 2571 North Highland Avenue in Jackson, Tennessee, under the direction of Austin Clark. Another Trip Around the World. How did you all come up with this title, and what does it mean for the event?
Well, it was because last fall our concert was called a trip around the world.
Oh, okay.
And we sang songs from several countries.
Okay.
And when it became time to think about this concert, Austin kept saying, there are so many more countries that we can tap into and so much beautiful music. And I think sometimes we get locked into the countries, either the old classicals or the country where we live. And there's so much else out there. Last year, I have to tell this story. We did a flash mob. Flash mob at the farmers market for 5 years. I have been saying to directors, we could do a flash mob. And 2 of them looked at me like the woman's out of her mind. And then when we interviewed Austin for the job, I was on the search committee. He said, one thing I'd like to do is have a flash mob. I said, bingo.
Awesome. Right.
So we went to, it was so much fun. We went to the farmers market. We sang a Brazilian native tribal song.
Wow.
So the women scattered around the farmers market, and the men just kind of stood at the entrance. We had rain sticks, and we had all these different instruments.
Wow.
And they started singing this song in this tribal language.
Wow.
And then too bad this isn't TV, because I'm doing a great job with my hands here. I'm acting the whole thing. The women came from other places and joined them, and we sang these that we were going to sing in the concert. And then we passed out flyers about
That's
the concert.
Great advertising right there.
It was such a cool thing to do. It was just so much fun. And then
what is that like? Learning another, not just singing, because if it was an American song, then it'd be I know English, I can figure that out, but singing in someone else's native language,
it's a challenge. We go through just speaking it first, and speaking it to rhythm, and then we add the words. And it is a challenge, but it's fun because, like, I read music, and so now you're reading music, not the lead part, and you're learning the language, but the language tends to flow with it.
Right.
We usually do something, and we'll do it again this time. We're doing Vivaldi's Gloria, which is absolutely wonderful. It's in Latin. Most of us have taken Latin in high school.
Right.
Latin is easy for most people to pronounce. The other languages, but the first one we did in Latin, and we were being so precise. So me, being the smart aleck that I am, said, what difference does it make? Nobody speaks Latin anymore unless there's a priest or a nun or something in the audience. Okay.
Right.
2 priests and 5 nuns from St. Mary's Church were out there in the audience, and we walked out on stage, and there were people I know that were thinking, she said nobody would understand it.
Right.
But, the assumption is that they speak Latin because, services aren't in Latin anymore. We also, in May, we sang with the community orchestra, the Hub City Harmony, which is absolutely wonderful, and we did a patriotic concert at Union University, and it was very inspiring. There's one piece that has all the theme songs for all the branches of the armed forces, and people stand up when you sing there. It's very, it makes you remember how lucky we are to live in this country.
That's right.
How patriotic we all should feel all the time, not just on Veterans Day or the 4th of July or Memorial Day.
That's right.
We also sang the national anthem at the Jackson Generals game this year. I was out of town. I didn't get to do that, but I understood that was really, everybody loved it. So we're branching out. We're doing things like the flash mob, like the symphony. We did a program at Lambeth about 5 years ago with patriotic music also. So we were in Brownsville one year. Their Arts Council invited us to do our concert. So we branch out as much as we can.
That is awesome. And again, this is voluntarily, volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that for me that makes it even more special because it's something that you all don't have to do.
Right.
And that you love to do, and that passion comes out even more in your music because you want to be there.
Right. Our musicians are paid.
Okay.
Our director is amazing. He has a master's degree in conducting from Southern Miss, which is a very good music school. And Mitzi Mathenia is our accompanist, and she's unbelievable. and they are paid, not what they're worth, but they are paid. The rest of it, and the musicians, of course, are paid. I mean, they're a union, and they deserve to be paid. But the singers are voluntary, and people love it. I mean, if you come and you stay, it's because you really just love to sing.
That's right. That's right. All right. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe our time is almost up. But we got one more segment, and we're going to talk more about the another trip around the world, which will be Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at Northside United Methodist Church, located at 2571 North Highland Avenue in Jackson, Tennessee. It is under the musical direction of Austin Clark. So we'll be right back with Dr. Amy Dietrich in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to Hub City Now. I'm your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr., and we are unfortunately wrapping things up with Dr. Amy Dietrich, who I enjoy having on, and we're going to have her on a lot more because she has so many things that she does. So we're happy to have her. Again, she's been talking to us about another trip around the world, which is a Jackson Choral Society event. Austin Clark is the music director. It will be Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at Northside United Methodist Church. Located at 2571 North Highland Avenue in Jackson, Tennessee. I forgot to ask you, is this a free event? Is this a paid event?
No, tickets are $15.
Okay.
$10 for students. And if you think choral society and you think a bunch of stiff people standing up holding their hands like this singing Madrigal, let me tell you what you're going to hear. We're singing a song from Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh.
Now, you talked about singing in a foreign language.
Right.
Think about singing that, only you're doing it about this fast because that's how fast the music goes for those Bollywood things.
Right.
We're singing Memory from Cats. We're singing This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. We're singing a beautiful, beautiful, it's called a Huron, for the Huron Indians, written by a French missionary, but it's in English, and it's kind of like the Native American version of the birth of Jesus. It's a beautiful song. We're singing an African song. I love those African songs. They have such a beat. We're singing a Hebrew song that I've been to a lot of bar mitzvahs and Jewish weddings, and you just want to get up and dance the hora. I swear. There's a beautiful Brazilian piece that's kind of an invitation to a dance, to a tango or a mambo, and it's the men asking the questions and the women answering the questions, and in between you're going, that's really pretty. Some Russian songs, of course, the Vivaldi, Gloria, which is just magnificent.
Right.
So we're visiting some countries that we didn't. A beautiful Japanese number that's also a little bit of Japanese, but a lot of English, and you can pick up immediately. There's something about the rhythm and the tone of music from Japan that's just different. If you had your eyes closed and didn't know the title, you would know that that's where it came from.
Right.
When I sent out the letters for the donors, I said, you're going to want to dance in the aisles by the time this is over. Just especially the one from Bollywood is so much fun. And then this invitation to the dance and the Hebrew one. It's just a lovely potpourri of music that's pretty and poignant and fun. And there's an Irish one called The Little Beggarman that's just hilarious. It's just an hilarious song. Again, men asking and women answering kind of thing. So Austin is just a wonderful director. The first time he came, after we hired him, and a friend of mine called me when I got home, and she said, how was it? I said, I think I was just on Glee because he's young and handsome and vibrant and has this gorgeous voice, and he hops around, and it's just so fun, and he's so talented. he brings things out in us that I would have said 3 years ago. We've always been good. I don't mean to say we weren't.
Right.
But he has brought us to another level.
That's
and
awesome.
That's very gratifying as a singer,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure very gratifying for him
Right.
that he's watched us grow. And now that I know that you used to sing,
Oh, no. I knew I shouldn't have brought it up.
I'm recruiting this man. We need another singer always.
Well, how can one join the Jackson Choral Society if they're interested?
You better not know me. My yoga instructor is still going, how did this ever happen? I just said to him, you have such a nice deep voice. Do you sing? And he made the mistake of saying yes. If you want to join us, the best thing to do, I always tell people, is we will start rehearsals again it's too late now,
Okay.
but for the spring in January.
Okay.
Come to a rehearsal.
Where do you all rehearse?
We rehearse at West Jackson Baptist.
Okay.
And we rehearse in their choir room, which is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say to people, you'll know after a couple of times
Right,
if you
if you-
enjoy this or not.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the only thing we ask our singers to do, because we're a nonprofit. I mean,
Right.
as I always say, we're the Scarlett O'Hara of music. We rely on the kindness of strangers. And so if you sing with us, you pay a minimum fee and then you may keep your music.
Okay.
But for first-timers, we say, don't pay for the music the first couple of times. Come and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Return the music to us if you don't want it. And don't pay us unless you're absolutely sure.
That's what okay. All right. How can people contact you all if they're interested in joining or want to find out more?
You can contact, really the best way at this point is to contact me from my email address, because our website is kind of in transition.
Okay.
Our office is a post office box. We joined the Chamber of Commerce, and they said, we drove up and down Van Drive looking for your office. We actually had a ribbon cutting. I said, so is it going to be a little red thread that you cut with a cuticle scissors? But they actually accommodate for people who don't have permanent locations.
Okay.
And it was down at the chamber office, and
Okay.
it was very nice. And
That's
we
awesome.
set up a display, and we have a big picture of me with the big scissors cutting the ribbon. But my email address is apdietrich@eplus.net, and Dietrich is spelled like diet rich.
Okay.
And if you just at this point, if you just email me, I will send you some information about when we'll start up again in January, and I'll keep your name. And I say give it a try. If you like to sing, I sing with 3 groups now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I couldn't get enough. I sing with my church, First Methodist. I sing in an ensemble with them, and then I sing with the Choral Society.
That's awesome.
Don't know if I do it well, but I enjoy it.
I'm sure you do it well.
So you'll be there in January, right? Does your wife sing? We could bring her too.
Oh, I better let her tell you if she can sing or not.
You
I'll
are
get
a
in
very
trouble.
diplomatic husband. You're going to go far in this marriage.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you back on. Again, everyone, Jackson Choral Society under the direction of Austin Clark. Another trip around the world, Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. at Northside United Methodist Church, located at 2571 North Highland Avenue in Jackson, Tennessee. It's tickets are $15, $10 for students. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors, Baskerville Funeral Home, R&R Custom Wheels and Tires Express, and Helping Hands of Tennessee. You all have a wonderful and blessed week, and continue to watch out for one another and love one another and take care of one another. God bless.